Qué ganas, Esteve, de comenzar. Bueno. Hello, everyone, and happy Open Innovation Thursdays. My name is Marisol Menendez, and I'm once again excited and happy to be connecting with you to have our usual and regular 15 minutes of open innovation. We are reviewing week by week each of the chapters of the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation. My name is Marisol Menendez, and I'm an open innovation enthusiast. I have my own innovation company called Vilacatu. We are ecosystem orchestrators and open innovation practitioners. And I have a huge ecosystem called with female leaders. So this is my life. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to have the opportunity and the privilege to speak with people that I admire so much, not only today, but for many, many years. And one of them is, of course, my dear friend, Esteve Almirall. Esteve, hello, how are you today?
Hi, Marisol. So happy to be with you.
Wow, I'm so happy as well. Well, we are reviewing today your chapter, which is chapter number 24. But first of all, we always like to get to know the person behind the book. So my first question to you, Esteve, is where are you connecting from today?
I'm connecting from Spain, from Barcelona.
We are in the same country. This is the first time. But you are a very international person. You are always all around the world, no? Regularly, you have many cities where you're based?
Oh, yeah. I've been living in many cities. I live in New York, in San Francisco, in Berlin, and so on. And next week I will be in Seattle. So, life is
Life is like that for open innovation practitioners, global open innovation practitioners, and you are one of our best representatives here. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? What's your background, your research?
Yeah, well, it's very simple. I have a dual background. Well, before that, before being an academic, I had another life in consulting and banking and so on in private companies and also as an entrepreneur. So it's this thing of academic. I was not born academic. I transformed myself into an academic. In academic, I have a dual life. On one side, I do AI. I have been doing AI for many years before AI was in fashion. On the other side, I do innovation. And of course, I'm with open innovation since the beginning, since more than since around 15 years by now, It's a little bit.
It's a long time. My mantra is for my open innovation practice is multi-sector, multi-player, multi-country. And I think you embody all these dimensions in yourself with all your experience. And well, of course, your chapter here in the book, chapter number 24, the official name is Open Innovation Smart Cities in the Smart Cities. How come this chapter came to be? Why did you think about this topic? Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, it's very simple. I did many things in open innovation, but maybe one distinctive thing that I did is open innovation in the public sector. And then in open innovation in the public sector, I work particularly on smart cities. In smart cities, I was directing 3 big projects. One is called Open Cities. That was many years ago. And the other one was Commons for Europe. And we had other ones that were described in the chapter and so on. And the idea was simple. I mean, many times open innovation is about private companies that take ideas from another company, license, etc., do all these things. But you can do the same thing in the public sector. And you can do the same thing in cities. Not all ideas from cities come from the city government. So that's what the chapter is about.
Is also the dimensions of the cities, no? So it's very interesting. So you have all this knowledge and background, and of course, connecting with all the topics that you explained before that you are researching. So let's get into detail. What's this chapter about? What can we find if we get to read it?
Well, in the chapter, I tell you our experience with open innovation that was pretty important and pretty big in Europe, in many cities, for quite some time, and still is. And still is very important. Why? Because cities at the end are ecosystem orchestrators. And it's not about the things that they can do, it's the things that they can catalyze. And they catalyze opinions from citizens, from users, and they have to gather these opinions, but they also have startups and big companies. For example, now one of the most transformative things that are happening in cities is robotaxis. And robotaxis is something that doesn't come from the city, that comes from big companies like buy more from Google, like Tesla, and Baidu, if you are in China, with the Apollo project, and so on. So this has been happening forever. How do you catalyze all these things? How do you catalyze all this innovation that comes from the outside the city and you introduce them in the city? Not only that, how you gather the opinions of citizens and make these opinions flourish and become innovations for everybody. So that's a chapter about. We talk about companies, but we talk also about citizens, and we talk also about public servants that want to do new things in the city and put these new things in the city land and make them fructiful and make them blossom. So that's what the chapter is about.
Wow. I think this is a common chapter. We recently spoke in previous chapters about these regional ecosystems, no, and the challenge to activate all the different players and the four, how do you say, the four?
The tipo helix, maybe?
The helix. I was thinking of the word in Spanish.
We have many helix in the public sector.
We have so many helix, but at the end, the challenge is how to bring everyone together. And I think that it's always at the end is how to bring in the individual, the citizens, no? And so how we can moderate all these orchestrators, ecosystems and orchestrate them, no? To bring value to everyone. Do you have any example or any?
Okay. There are examples that are very simple that anybody can imagine. Examples about companies that bring products to the city, and this is very simple. But there are more interesting examples coming from citizens, users. How do you involve users and make that the city is not only a provider of new things and so on, but they can redefine what citizenship in the 21st century. One very nice example that I love a lot comes from Boston. And in Boston, you have hydrants. And then in winter, when you have hydrants in Boston, well, it snows. And then many of the hydrants don't work anymore because of the snow. Well, they made an app and they enlisted the citizens to adopt a hydrant. And by adopting a hydrant to check after any snow, if the hydrant is still working or not, and so on. You may think it's a silly thing. Well, it's a thing that saves quite a lot of money to the city. Why? Because checking any of the hydrants in Boston costs a lot of money. You need an army of people every time it snows. It snows a lot in Boston. Trust me, it snows a lot, very frequently. So it's a lot of money. But not only that, by enlisting the citizens, you give the citizens a sense of participation in their own city. You make these citizens and the city come together. They feel that the city is something that is the city. And this is in a way redefining citizenship. Is that when I was a kid, I was taking care of my zone, my street. I came down and this was common. And then after a few years that disappeared in Barcelona, in Madrid, in the cities of Spain, because, well, the city hall took care of all these kind of things. It's reviewing all these things. We have many examples of how you can empower citizens to become active in these cities of the 21st century. And this is one of the nicest examples. And of course, you have many other examples of companies and startups and all these kind of things that you can imagine that are more typical or classical.
Of course, but I very much like this idea on how maybe even technology can help us to create these connections. And this is at the core of the very basic definition of open innovation, no? By creating flows of knowledge, no, between across organizational boundaries to create value. This is very close to that. And also it somehow leverages on human qualities, no? So I very much like when technology helps us to be better humans. And of course, when open innovation is there. Esteve, it's amazing. We learned through time that this book is kind of a Bible, and if you are interested in learning about a topic, you have a small chapter which will give you information to learn about. And I think your chapter is a very interesting case about the specific role of smart cities. So I really recommend everyone to dig into the chapter and look into it because it's so very interesting. Any final word? What do you want people to bring home in their hearts or pay special attention? Think that we
Oh,
have practitioners and academics in this audience. So, final words?
yeah, well, maybe a final word is that our challenge this year is productivity, is how to compete, how to increase in productivity. And productivity is just a symptom. Behind productivity, it's innovation. If you don't innovate, you are not going to raise your productivity. And innovation comes from everywhere. Innovation is by definition open. So take a look at open innovation.
Wow. That's a closure, Esteve. I won't say anything else because you just nailed it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. I hope to see you soon again. And of course, I will invite you to our Spanish series, Martes de Innovación Abierta, where we will be talking about the chapters, but reviewing them for all the Spanish-speaking world. Esteve, it was amazing as always to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the Spanish series. Nos vemos allí.
Nos vemos.